we were going to look ahead to what was a crucial early season series in the NL East with the Braves and the Phillies in Philadelphia. Braves 12-7. They've been hitting the snot off the ball. Philadelphia, very inconsistent. The bullpen doesn't look good. Some of their stars aren't hitting. Outside of Cristopher Sánchez, their starting pitching really can't be trusted either. So we were hoping to see how Philly was going to react, and they're just getting their brakes beat off them. It's 7-0 Braves going into the bottom of the fifth. I mean, my goodness. You got some great matchups tomorrow. It'll be Chris Sale versus Chris Sánchez. Sunday Night Baseball, it's Holmes versus Painter. But, man, the Phillies, they're in a real bad place. And I did hear my former boss at WFAN in New York, who now is the afternoon show host at WIP in Philadelphia, Spike Eskin. I did hear him say that they should fire Rob Thompson. I mean, we're 18 games in. I don't think it's that dire. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. But, yeah, the Phillies, they do not look good to start this season.
The Phillies are tied with the Blue Jays at having the second worst run differential in baseball at minus a negative 25. The only team that's worse is the White Sox at negative 40. That's it. The Phillies have just been brutal. I mean, their offense has been really bad. Only 72 runs scored, which is one of the worst in the National League. And then they've given up 97 runs coming into this game. You can add 7 more to that. And like you said, it's only in the 5th inning. Taijuan Walker's been terrible tonight. So Phillies just aren't doing anything. Bryce Harper got off to a terrible start this season. He's been a little better, but you can't be any worse than he was about the first week through the season. I think, it's a veteran club. We know it's a long season. Eventually it'll even out. I think they'll get better as the season goes on. But I think that it's a real possibility that this team does not make the playoffs, which is crazy because the Mets are really struggling right now as well. So the Braves, we know with that team, it's just all about staying healthy. They got all the talent in the world, but the last few years, it feels like they're always dealing with injuries. Right now, they're healthy for the most part, and they're looking good. They're leading the NL East, and they're certainly making a statement tonight in Philadelphia, but definitely a lot of cause for concern if you're a Phillies fan. And yeah, I think Spike Eskin's got a point, man. I mean, Thompson's been there a while for the last few years. It's feel like it's kind of been World Series or bust for the Phillies with that roster and some of those postseason runs they've been going on. Each year, it feels like they've kind of gotten worse in October. And now with the start that they're on here to kick off the regular season, it definitely feels like they might need a jolt of life, some kind of change to get this team going.
Their starting pitching's terrible. Outside of Sánchez, I mean, Jesus Luzardo has given up. He's almost got an ERA of 9. Nola's got an ERA of nearly 5. Like, they're outside of, nobody can get any outs. That's the manager's fault that the pitching flat out stinks. Come on, fire the pitching coach before you fire the manager. I don't know, man. To me, it's like you said, the run differential is bad. It's because their pitching staff has been god-awful. They cannot get people out. So Ronald Acuna is not having that great of a start. He's hitting under 250, and his OPS is barely above 700. He's only got 5 ribbies. Austin Riley's OPS is in the mid-600s. And Michael Harris is only hitting 226 with an OPS of 600, and yet the Braves are 12-7 because Drake Baldwin, the reigning rookie of the year, is the real freaking deal, Holyfield. Matty Olson might be on pace for 40 bombs this year. And Dom Smith, I think he's played for every team in the NL East. Dom Smith has an OPS over 1,000. He had another home run tonight. The guy's been on fire, so Atlanta's getting great hitting. Pitching is fantastic. Their pitching staff is a total whip of just over 1. Like, they don't walk anybody. So good luck. You're not getting free passes from Bryce Elder. You're not getting free passes from Sale. You're not getting free passes from Reynaldo Lopez. They don't walk people, and they strike people out at basically 1 per inning. So they're a tremendous pitching staff. They are flying through this start of the season. So I really like what Atlanta's looking like here. I do believe I picked them to win the division before the season started, so I'm feeling pretty No, I picked the Mets. I did pick the Mets. But I said the Braves would be a wild card team. One in the division, the AL West, Rangers and the Mariners, and they kick things off on this Friday night in about an hour and a half from now. So it's a big set. The Rangers are 10-9 coming into it. The Mariners have struggled. They're 8-12, and you look at Seattle as a team, they're only hitting 209. They strike out a ton. Their pitching, as expected, has been pretty good. They can't hit the ball worth of anything right now. 209 as a team, and they only have 17 home runs. Like, they're not going deep. They're not hitting the ball. They just got swept by the Padres. You look at this pitching matchup here tonight, and it's probably going to set the tone for the weekend because it's a damn good one. Jacob deGrom versus Logan Gilbert. With the way that Seattle has hit the ball, I mean, deGrom, this might be vintage deGrom tonight. He might go 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 earned run, because Seattle, they just have not been able to hit their way out of a paper bag so far. Saturday, also a great pitching matchup. Nathan Eovaldi versus George Kirby. And then Sunday, you get MacKenzie, Gore versus Brian Wu. So Seattle at home, where they're 7-4, they're 1-8 on the road this year. Can they use what I still call Safeco Field? What is it, T-Mobile Park? Can they use their home ballpark as a safe haven here this weekend, PJ? Because they got to get it rolling.
And they already played Texas earlier this year, Pat, and they got swept by the Rangers. And the scores of those games were 2-1, 3-2, and 3-0. So you bring up the great pitching matchups, and you bring up how bad the Seattle offense has been so far up to this point. That series was kind of the epitome of it. I mean, the pitching gave up 3 runs in those 3 games, and they didn't win any of them. Obviously looking for some more offense tonight and in this series against Texas, because they did face Eovaldi and Gore in 2 of those games in that series. And so getting a second look at those guys again, it's a big series for Seattle because they've already played a bunch of division games up to this point. They've already played the Angels 3 times. They lost to them 2-3, swept by the Rangers, and then they did sweep Houston for 4 before just getting swept by San Diego. So they've been very up and down, playing a lot of division games. They have the A's after this 3-game series with Texas. So big little stretch here for Seattle, who's 8-12, as you mentioned, but they do get 6 straight division games to chip away at that deficit that they have in the AL West to make up a little bit of ground. But all 3 of these games should be great. As you said, the pitching matchup's terrific. Yeah, man, Seattle's, I mean, their offense is just too good to keep swinging it the way that they are.
I agree with you. And here's the reason why. Big Dumper, J-Rod, and Josh Naylor. 2, 3, 4 in that lineup. 3 All-Stars. Cal Raleigh's hitting 169, and he's got 2 home runs and 11 RBIs. J-Rod's hitting 200. He's got 1 home run and 6 RBIs. And Josh Naylor's hitting 118 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. That just ain't going to get it done, man. That
Naylor's
ain't going to get it
9
done.
hits.
Yeah. 9 hits and 76 at-bats. I ain't going to cut it. The rest of the lineup ain't bad. You know, Brendan Donovan's hitting 315 at the top of the order tonight. Rosarena's hitting 300. Luke Raley's hitting 328. But your middle of your order ain't doing jack squat. So there you go. I mean, that's why they've got one of the worst offenses in baseball. So who knows? Maybe DeGrom is who am I kidding? I feel like DeGrom's going to shut them down tonight. I'm not expecting much from Seattle tonight. They're going to have to get it to go over the weekend here. And then finally, Rays at the Pirates. 2 teams that have overachieved here early on. Which team do you think is a team that's going to end up staying in the thick of things in the playoff race here for most of this season? They're playing right now. It's 1-0 Buccos. Pirates leading it in the top of the 6th. The Rays only have 1 hit. Hell of a starting pitching performance from Mr. Bubba Chandler. 5 2/3, 1 hit, no walks, 3 strikeouts. For Tampa Bay, their starter ain't half bad either. Nick Martinez, 5 innings, only 1 run. But the Pirates came into this 11-8. The Rays at 11-7. And so which of these 2 teams do you think is more legit?
I think it's the Pirates because of that pitching staff. You mentioned Bubba Chandler, who's a stud for them. Obviously, Skeens. They just got a great staff, good bullpen. And I think that pitching is going to keep them in it. I like what they did in the offseason, too, adding some veteran bats to that lineup. So I think it's Pittsburgh. The division's a big part of it as well, Pat. We talked a little bit about that earlier this week. The Rays battling with the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Orioles, who are all playoff caliber teams. And right now in the Central, you got the Cardinals who are going to fade. Cubs and Brewers are off to some slow starts, but I think it's got to be the Pirates. When you can pitch like they can, if their offense can kind of continue the way that they're swinging it right now, 7th best batting average in all of Major League Baseball, got a little bit of power to go with it as well, 21 home runs as a team. So I like this Pirates team, and as I told you early in the week, I think they got a good shot at winning this division. So yeah, for me, definitely the Pirates.
Wow. I think it's the Rays. You know, again, this is a team that we fell in love. Well, we didn't fall in love with them, but like a lot of people fall in, the money ball, not spending money and finding these guys, these nameless, faceless players that end up, having OPSs of 850, 900. I think, look, they've actually got some really good star power on this team. Believe it or not, like Junior Caminero was an all-star last year, and he's off to a pretty solid start. He's And he's got a 782 OPS. He leads the team in home runs. Jonathan Aranda has a average OPS. Yandy Diaz has an OPS of 1,000. Again, their right fielder, Johnny DeLuca's got an average of nearly 300. And so that's a kid that's 27 years old. And, didn't hear much of him because he barely played last year. Started with the Dodgers. But then I'm just, going up and down the list here. And the pitching staff, like Shane McClanahan, what did he get his first win in how long, last week? 5-6 years? So Shane McClanahan's finally healthy. Nick Martinez, the guy that's pitching tonight, came in tonight with an ERA just over 2. Drew Rasmussen's got an ERA just over 1. That's the matchup tomorrow. Rasmussen Skeens. That's going to be great. And then Steven Matz getting better as he gets older. He's 3-0 so far, and he's striking out a batter per inning. So I'd say it's the Rays. They've done it before. They do have a lot of players that you do know about. And, again, so far the AL East hasn't been what we thought it was going to be. Boston stinks. Toronto stinks. The Yankees are on a slide. And the Orioles, your Orioles are up and down. So I think Tampa Bay can absolutely end up grabbing a wild card spot here with the way they've gotten off to the start of the season.
It worried me coming into the season that nobody was talking about Tampa. And I know that they've been down the last couple of years, but they went on that run where they were just consistently in the playoffs with one of the lowest payrolls in the sport and just doing it the Moneyball way. They're starting to get back to it. Kevin Cash is a terrific manager. They're always going to have good pitching. If they can get the hitting to go along with it, Tampa's going to be right there. So, yeah, but both of those teams could have good seasons, but I just think the upside of that Pirates pitching staff, if their offense can just give them enough support, they'll be right there in the thick of it in the NL Central.